Hi there, and welcome to Search Engine Journal's Facebook Live with Brian Harnish of Y Marketing. I am proud to be here today to go over some local SEO tidbits for everyone here. We have quite a few questions today, which I'm thrilled to go over. So, our first question is, how should a non-SEO expert dive into local SEO? That can be quite a conundrum because when you don't have the knowledge, you don't really know where to start, and it is kind of challenging to differentiate between different experts, what they say is real and what others say is not real, that kind of thing. So when you are not an SEO expert, first things first, you want to find out who your influencers in the industry and in the majority of cases your niche are. So if you're, say, in lawyer SEO, for example, you want to find out who the industry influencers in that niche are, kind of maybe follow them, find out who are the top blogs in that industry are in terms of SEO, not the actual law field. Now, in addition, when you're doing this research, you can ask around. You can follow people on Twitter, social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Get those questions out there. Find out what people are doing, what you plan on moving forward with, and see if you're on the right path. Because in most situations, SEO experts are really willing to help. You just need to be able to put yourself out there and ask those questions properly. Question number 2, what factors should be taken into consideration in local search strategy? Local search should actually concentrate with a local focus on things like content quality, links, social media promotion, user experience, in addition to brand awareness and identity. All of these should be hyper-local in its focus. So if you're targeting something like Fountain Valley, California, for example, you'll want to target your marketing toward that area, toward users of that area. Now, of course, SEO doesn't work effectively in a vacuum, and local search efforts should actually be tied into other efforts in this way as well. Local brand promotion, local search factors like content, link acquisition, and social are all important factors to take into account when developing an effective local search strategy. Also, don't forget keyword research and targeting on local promotion is a major factor as well. You can't exactly have effective content and marketing promotion without being able to actually target those things. Next question is, do you think local search competition is more challenging than international search? I think both are generally very different to be able to quantify whether or not one is more challenging than the other. You have two different purposes here depending on your goals. Local search is about targeting an extremely narrow location-based query and generating traffic and actions from that traffic. Now, international search is about targeting very broad location-based queries at the country level without much of an opportunity to get down to and then generating traffic and actions from that traffic. If I were to actually quantify it, I would say that international search is more challenging than local search. With international search, you have more gray area factors that make it more challenging. And yes, you can cover a larger area with international search and eventually obtain queries and conversions as a result. But getting to your end result can be doubly challenging because of more gray areas in data tracking. Now, what elements should we look out for in analyzing the local competition? When analyzing local competition here, I suggest looking at things like how the competition is doing the following: content. What is their content about? How are they creating their content? When they are creating their content, how they are promoting their content. Links. What links are they targeting? How are they building their links? How many links are they building? Are they going after local directories, the kind of local citations they are getting? How they are building their link profile in general, etc. Tools like Majestic SEO are great for this because of how they display the data. It is also a good idea to download all link data from at least 5 industry sources. So say like Majestic SEO, Ahrefs, Raven Tools, Mars Open Site Explorer, as well as Google Search Console. Using this data, you can create an Excel spreadsheet that will help visualize exactly how all of these links are impacting the link profile if you're creative enough. And if you're not creative enough, get somebody who is. The site. How the site is built. Things like user experience, local targeting, website architecture, site speed, etc. Social. How are they promoting their content through their social network? The influencers they are targeting. How their social campaigns are run. And with this, when you're analyzing local competition, especially for shareability of content, tools like BuzzSumo, for example, are great to have so that you can have all of that shareability data for different types of content as a result. So it's kind of a good idea to experiment with different tools to figure out exactly what works for you in different situations. And also brand management. How are they managing their brand? The overall communication, how they engage with customers in your niche, etc. And of course, reputation management. How they are managing reviews, customer complaints. And of course, when you are doing this, it's a good idea to do a full reputation analysis so that you can figure out exactly what is going on in that regard too. Of course, not everything actually has a direct impact on local search ranking, and many of these will have an impact on how you put together your local search strategy in order to go after consumers in a tough competitive market. The next question, now, do you believe that local SEO directories help in link building? You know what? There are several schools of thought on the topic. One is that directories are no longer here as a valid link acquisition strategy, but that's kind of iffy because you still have high quality directories that you can actually go after. So if you go after high quality directories in a reasonable way, then you do not run the risk of incurring a penalty or other negative situation as a result. So I would say that local SEO directories do help a lot. You just do not want to go after so many at one time that Google flags your site as spam, and you also don't want to go after a list of 1,000 links that are of questionable or low or quality, whatever. But also don't show manipulation in that regard. Kind of figure out how you can create the links in such a way that will, how do I want to put this, that will be of a good enough variety and that they don't show manipulation and that they do contribute to your rankings overall. And that's important. You don't want to appear spammy and you don't want to raise red flags to Google as a result of your linking activities. So my earlier point of are local directories still help? Yes, they do, and they can be of great value in your link building efforts. The next question is social bookmarking dead? I'm kind of run across a lot of this in my link acquisition efforts because on the one hand you have social bookmarking sites that are very low quality and they do not have any value added to the site. So that's kind of like a situation where you kind of have to use your own judgment in that when you're going after like social bookmarking links, like don't go after links that will put you in a situation where you say create 50 users of a similar name on that same website, and then you just create a text link back to the website with exact match anchor text or just branded anchor text or whatever. That's not going to help anybody. Now, if the social bookmarking site actually does have some additional things, some additional content that adds value, like say maybe a one paragraph review or something, or it's actually designed really well for the user experience too, that could be a good link. So it kind of really, the situation itself really is going to be dictated by the link that you come across and what exactly is you find that it's actually going to help. So is social bookmarking dead? Not entirely, but I would not spend so much time on it as a link acquisition strategy. It can help, but don't spend so much time on it. Next question is, what content considerations should we look out for in analyzing our competitors? So let's kind of talk about local content for a bit. And I want to take a look at a few factors that I found to help. Things like keyword targeting, content length, and content quality. Keyword targeting, we take a look at how keywords are targeted on page, what keywords are targeted and why. And this is not to say that this is not targeting actual, it's not worth targeting actual, it's not worth looking at keywords in a way that asks how many repetitions are there on a page. That is something that has been dead in SEO for a long time. Now, I think it was the Florida update in 2003 where Google actually went after keyword stuffing in this manner. So it was actually keyword density. Don't think about keyword density or aiming at that. What will happen is that you can end up in a situation where if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up in a really nasty situation as a result. So just kind of, you want to take a look at how the keywords are targeted, what keywords are targeted on the page, etc. Now, I kind of want to go back to content length. I'm not advocating writing long articles for the sake of writing long articles. This is not going to do anything if you can create high quality content in a short way that answers the user query better than the longer article. Some industries like SEO actually lend themselves well to long form content. In other industries, shorter content can be better. You just have to look at the query a bit more in detail, analyze what's going on, and make your decisions based off that. Because if you make your content decisions by industry, you're kind of going to run into a little bit of trouble because the length of content and how a content answers the user's query can vary significantly by query. So just looking at the industry as a whole, kind of don't want to go down that road. And that's why I don't advocate making your content decisions by industry, simply because that decision can be so influenced by the query itself. So content quality as well also considers how well the content is written. Is it written in a way that makes it easy to understand and absorb by the user? Don't just put together content without taking into account that Google looks at both how content is written and how it answers the user's query. Keyword stuffed content has been dead as an SEO tactic for years, and the same can be said about local SEO content that attempts to use this strategy as well. Now, when we're talking about local content, there's a pretty weird trend that I've seen across quite a few websites. For example, you'll see content that is the same from city to city to city or state to state to state with certain things changed, and that's it. Now, in my experience when working with penalties and I once had a manual penalty where it was requested that we actually improve the content of the site in that manner. So it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like you have a situation where if you're kind of one of those people that don't like actually working with content or whatever, you kind of want to be a little bit lazy, you kind of want to go through and just churn out content per page, per page, per page, per page, per page, whatever. That's not really going to work as well as creating the higher quality content and actually getting the meat into those particular local queries. Now, next question is, what content strategies are applicable in international search that shouldn't be done in local search? I kind of touched upon that a little bit in the last question, but let me expand on that here a bit. With international search, it is generally possible to go from country to country to country to country and have those types of pages add the same content for the most part throughout each site, because you're not actually targeting the same location with the website. You're targeting different geolocations in order to get that content out to different consumers, which is a different purpose for that kind of content. And so Google, when the international search is done correctly, is not going to view that as spam. So that is one major strategy that should not be applied to local search. When you're doing local search, create your own higher quality content, etc. Now, as well, and that is the major thing that I want to touch on content strategy. For the most part, so long as you're focusing on the uniqueness in local search, you'll be good. In international search, uniqueness, when you're talking about spreading content across different countries, is not all that important. Next question. When doing work for a particular local business niche, how can you keep on coming up with great content? Well, this is kind of an interesting conundrum, because I have heard from SEOs in boring industries that, oh my God, I cannot create content because this industry is so boring. I cannot come up with any ideas that will be entertaining enough for anybody who in their right mind would actually want to do this. Well, I would say that no industry is boring enough that you can actually create great content. And I have the perfect example. This one is a product that is in one of the worst industries known to man. This product is something that you would not believe anybody could create any kind of great content for. And what's this product called? It's called the Squatty Potty. And this campaign had gone viral. You might have seen this commercial. You have this guy from the Middle Ages with a unicorn, and he's talking about the unicorn. The unicorn does his thing, yada yada. And the brilliance behind that campaign is testament to the fact that no industry is so boring that you can't create interesting content that will go viral and help you get your product out there in terms of promotion. And if you think about it, if you do enough research, if you look into your market, if you look into your users, if you look into your audience enough, you'll be able to find that selling point that will take the sales of your product into the stratosphere. And the next, that is one idea for creating great content. Now, next, look at tools like BuzzSumo. I mentioned BuzzSumo before, and it gives you great research data that you can use in order to come up with ideas for content that will go viral in your particular industry, niche, whatever. So, but also take a look at Google. Look at Google for those queries. But keep in mind, when you go look at Google for those queries, look at content that's actually being shared. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that social shares or whatever social activity helps ranking. Google has said it doesn't. I'm saying that you go to Google, you look at the shared data, you compile it into Excel, and you find different types of content that are being shared across industries, and actually find out what kind of content generates the reaction from your industry that you're looking for. That's what I'm kind of talking about in terms of how to keep coming up with great content. That's another way that you can do that. Next question. Which do you think is most important? Keywords, content, or links? I think all are incredibly important because SEO generally does not work well in a vacuum by itself. You have a situation where you have a marketing strategy where SEO needs to be integrated into the marketing strategy of the entire organization. You just can't have a situation where you can only be focused on keywords or only focused on content or only focused on links, simply because all of them are synergistic. They work together in order to help deliver results that you're trying to get for your client. So I say it's important to get into the mindset that it's not just content. Take a look at keywords, content, and links as the entire picture, and you will do much better as a result. Next question. Do you have any suggestions to take advantage of local search for multiple states rather than cities? Yes, I do, actually. You're kind of in a situation where if you're going after multiple states, you actually have cities within those states that you'll want to go after. Now, here's the thing. You can create, say, for example, say we're trying to target something in I don't know, California. When you're targeting something for the entire state in California, and you're looking at when you're doing the research, you want to look at, say you input, say, California personal injury lawyers or whatever, for example. That is, you're looking at just that particular query, and you're targeting that particular query, and you can get a page, you can create a page, for example, optimize it on page, and build links to that page itself, and get it to rank for just California personal injury attorneys. You don't have to actually rank for each of these cities, although it can help, but if you want to have a local presence in all of those cities, rather than just going for the actual state query, then that is where you want to have a strategy that targets all of these cities within those states and multiple states. So you kind of want to, it really depends on what you're going after in terms of local SEO, and whether or not you want to just rank for the state, or you want to actually move forward and rank towards the city level. So just kind of go by query, don't necessarily go just by location, or individual location. Next question. What is the best way for a retail store to rank in a city that they aren't located in? This is kind of a conundrum because in Google My Business Guidelines, they talk about that for certain industries it is best that you read those guidelines first, because if you can't get the local citations and things required in order to rank for that particular location, it's not going to be of much benefit to you. So, like for example, if you're an attorney, Google My Business Guidelines or actually prohibit the use of ranking in locations that you do not have an office. They prohibit ranking in those locations if you do not have an actual office. Like, you can't exactly get a virtual office or pretend you're in another location, because you'll violate Google's guidelines, and as a result, if you violate those guidelines and they find out, that really defeats the purpose of actually going through all of that effort in the first place. So, through ranking in a city that you aren't located in, look at Google's guidelines for your industry and make sure that you are actually able to do that, because some of Google's guidelines actually prohibit that, and they require you to have an office storefront in that location. And this would be the last question for Search Engine Journal's Facebook Live edition on local SEO. My name is Brian Harnish with Y Marketing, and I am excited to have been able to help you out today. Please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. You can find me on Twitter under your attendance today, and I hope you found this interesting. And goodbye, and happy SEOing, and enjoy.